You are sitting in a room. Maybe there is a faint hum, a fan, a distant car, the soft whisper of electricity inside the walls. Maybe there is nothing at all, just stillness, just quiet. It feels like silence, but it isn't. Right now, the air around you is alive with motion. Trillions upon trillions of molecules are moving, colliding, bouncing off your skin, your lungs, the walls, each other. They are fast, hundreds of meters per second, faster than a racing car, but so small you will never see them. You are not sitting in stillness. You are sitting inside chaos that feels calm. And that is the first illusion, because silence is not the absence of movement. It is the absence of perception. The human ear can only hear a narrow band of vibrations. Below it, above it, entire worlds of sound pass through you unnoticed. Even now, there are frequencies filling this room that your brain simply ignores. The room is not quiet, you just cannot hear it. Now shrink, not metaphorically, physically. Imagine your body becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. Your hand, once solid, begins to dissolve into structure. Skin becomes cells, cells become molecules, molecules become atoms, and suddenly everything changes, because at that scale there is no silence at all. Atoms are not quiet things. Electrons do not sit still like planets. They exist as probabilities, flickering clouds of presence, never fully here, never fully there. The space inside an atom is not empty in the way you imagine. It is structured, it is tense, it is full of energy. If an atom were the size of a cathedral, its nucleus would be a grain of sand at the center, and everything else would be space, mostly nothing. And yet that nothing is what you are made of. You feel solid, you feel real. But if all the empty space inside your atoms were removed, every human on Earth could fit into something the size of a sugar cube, a single cube. That is how much of you is not really there. Pause, because this is where the ground begins to slip. You trust your senses, you trust what you can touch, but already at the smallest scales, reality refuses to behave the way you expect. Silence is not silence, solid is not solid, empty is not empty. Everything familiar begins to thin, and we have not even left your skin. Now grow, back to your normal size, back to the room, back to the walls that feel stable again. But something is different now. The quiet feels fragile, temporary, like it depends on your limitations more than the world itself. Step outside. The air stretches above you. The sky feels vast. Clouds drift slowly as if time itself has softened. It feels peaceful. But this is only the second illusion, because the sky is not still, it is moving, fast. The earth beneath your feet is spinning at roughly 1,600 kilometers per hour at the equator. It is also orbiting the sun at about 107,000 kilometers per hour, and the sun itself is moving through the galaxy at around 828,000 kilometers per hour. You are not standing still. You are being carried through space at impossible speed. And yet, you feel nothing. No wind, no resistance, no sound, just quiet. The faster things move, the quieter they can feel. That is the second fracture. Because silence is not just about scale, it is about perspective. From here, your world feels stable, manageable, knowable. But every step you take away from it, smaller or larger, begins to erase that certainty. Reality stretches, distorts, refuses to stay familiar. And if this is what happens just inside your body and just outside your door, then what happens when we keep going? What happens when scale keeps growing until there is nothing left that you recognize? Look up at the night sky. At first it feels simple, a dark canvas with scattered points of light. You might see a few hundred stars with the naked eye, maybe 1,000 under perfect conditions. It feels countable, finite, but it isn't. Those points of light are not decorations, they are suns. Massive burning spheres of plasma, some larger, brighter, and older than the one that keeps you alive, and they are far, so far that their light takes years to reach you. When you look at a star 100 light-years away, you are not seeing it as it is. You are seeing it as it was 100 years ago. You are looking into the past. Now stretch that idea. The nearest star system beyond the Sun is about 4.24 light-years away. That means even traveling at the speed of light, the fastest possible speed in the universe, it would still take over 4 years to get there. No human has ever traveled even a fraction of that speed. The fastest spacecraft ever built would take tens of thousands of years to make the same journey. Space is not just big, it is indifferent to your sense of distance. Pause, because this is where scale begins to break intuition. If the Sun were reduced to the size of a basketball, the Earth would be a small marble about 24 meters away. That feels manageable. You could walk that distance in seconds. But the nearest star in that same scale? It would be over 6,000 kilometers away. From a marble to another basketball, across an entire continent. And in between, nothing. No air, no sound, no resistance, just space. Silence. Not because nothing is happening, but because nothing is close enough to matter. Now expand further. The Sun is just one star among roughly 100 to 400 billion stars in our galaxy, the Milky Way. Even that number is hard to hold. Hundreds of billions, each with its own planets, its own history, its own silent orbit through space. And the Milky Way itself is vast, about 100,000 light-years across. If you could travel at the speed of light, it would still take 100,000 years to go from one side to the other. Human civilization, from its earliest cities to today, spans only a few thousand years. You could cross the entire history of humanity 30 times and still not make it across the galaxy. That is the scale you live inside. And yet from Earth, it looks like a faint band of light, a smudge. This is the third fracture, because distance compresses reality into something that feels small, manageable, but it is not small. It is overwhelming beyond comprehension. Now step outside the galaxy. The Milky Way is not alone. It is part of a small group of galaxies, gravitationally bound together. And beyond that group, there are clusters, and beyond clusters, superclusters, each step larger, each step emptier, each step quieter. There are an estimated 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. 2 trillion. If you tried to count them at one per second, it would take over 60,000 years to finish. And each one contains billions of stars. Multiply that out. The number of stars in the observable universe is often compared to the number of grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth. But even that comparison fails. Because sand can be held, counted in handfuls, stars cannot. They are too far, too faint, too many. Now here is the moment that hits harder. Most of the universe is not made of stars, not even close. Ordinary matter, everything you can see, touch, or measure directly, makes up only about 5% of the universe. The rest is dark matter and dark energy, invisible, unseen, known only through their effects. You are made of the rarest kind of substance in existence. Everything you have ever known, every person, every planet, every star, all of it fits into that 5%. The rest is something else, something silent. This is the gut punch, because it means that even as we expand our understanding, most of reality remains beyond direct reach, not hidden behind distance, but hidden behind nature itself. Now go further. The observable universe, the part we can see, is about 93 billion light-years across. Not because it is that old, but because space itself has been expanding, stretching distances beyond what light alone would suggest. You cannot travel to the edge. Even if you moved at the speed of light forever, you would never catch up to it. The edge is not a place, it is a limit, a horizon. Beyond it, there may be more universe, are more galaxies, more silence, but we will never know. Not because we lack technology, but because the structure of reality prevents it. Information cannot reach us from beyond that boundary. It is cut off, forever. Pause, because this is where scale stops being just large and starts becoming final. You are standing inside a bubble of visibility. Everything you can ever observe is contained within it. And beyond that bubble, the universe continues, or doesn't, in ways you will never confirm. Not in your lifetime, not in any lifetime. Now ask yourself something simple. If silence on Earth is just the absence of what you can hear, if silence in space is just the absence of what is close, then what is silence at the edge of the observable universe? When distance becomes absolute, when information cannot cross, when entire regions of reality are permanently unreachable, is that still just silence, or is it something else entirely? And if most of existence lies beyond that unreachable horizon, what does that make everything you have ever known? You started in a room, a quiet space, a familiar space, something you could understand without effort, the hum of air, the stillness of walls, the sense that you were surrounded by something stable, but that stability was never real. It was a layer, a thin one, because beneath it the world dissolves into motion, into particles and probabilities, into empty space that somehow forms everything you are. And above it, the world stretches into distances so vast that your entire history becomes a fraction of a moment. Scale does not just make things bigger or smaller, it erases meaning. A mountain feels permanent until you measure it against a planet. A planet feels significant until you compare it to a star. A star feels powerful until it becomes one among billions in a galaxy. And a galaxy fades into near nothing when placed against the full expanse of the observable universe. At every step, what mattered before becomes smaller, quieter, less. And yet something strange happens as everything shrinks. You do not disappear with it. Your thoughts still exist. Your awareness still persists. Even as the universe grows beyond comprehension, there is still a point, a single, fragile point, where it becomes known. You. This is not a statement of importance. The universe does not center itself around you. It does not notice you. It does not change because you exist. But without you, it is silent in a different way. Not the silence of empty space, the silence of unobserved reality. Because everything you have seen in this journey, atoms, stars, galaxies, horizons, only becomes meaningful when it is experienced, measured, thought about. Without observers, the universe still exists, but it is never described, never understood, never felt. Pause. Because this is where scale turns inward. You are made of the same particles as distant stars, forged in nuclear reactions that happened billions of years before Earth even existed. The atoms in your body have traveled across space, across time, across multiple forms of matter before becoming you. You are not separate from the universe. You are a temporary arrangement of it, a pattern. And that pattern can think. It can ask questions about its own origin. It can measure distances that it will never cross. It can imagine scales that it will never fully grasp. This is rare. In a universe where most matter drifts silently, without awareness, without reflection, there are small pockets where something different happens. Something notices, something wonders. That is what you are. Now return to silence, not the silence of your room, not the silence of space between stars, not even the silence beyond the observable horizon. A different kind, the silence that comes when you realize how small you are, and how large everything else is, and how those two facts exist at the same time. It is not comforting, but it is not empty either. Because in that silence there is clarity. Your life is brief, measured in decades, maybe a century. Against cosmic time, it is less than a blink. Against cosmic distance, it is less than a point. And yet it is the only place where the universe becomes something more than motion and energy. It becomes experience. You will never leave this galaxy. You will never see most of the universe. You will never touch the vast majority of what exists, but you can understand it, piece by piece, layer by layer, slowly, imperfectly, but genuinely, and that understanding changes the silence. Because it is no longer just absence, it becomes awareness of absence. And that is different. The universe does not grow quieter as it expands. It only feels that way to you, because the larger it becomes, all the less of it you can reach, the less of it can reach you, and the more you are left alone with the knowledge of everything beyond your grasp. That is the final scale, not distance, not size, but separation, between what exists and what can ever be known. And you are standing exactly at that boundary, a conscious point inside an ocean of mostly unreachable reality, listening, thinking, trying to understand something that does not need to be understood, and for a moment, in that effort, the silence feels almost full. Then it fades again, and the universe continues, quietly,